And welcome back, everyone, to the semifinals of the Speed Chess Championship. Fiona, Hikaru goes into the bullet portion down a point. What do you make of his chances?
I think his chances are great. As I've mentioned before, I think Hikaru is the world's best bullet player, but MVL is not to be written off. MVL has shown some great chess tonight. He has the speed, but I think that Hikaru is a favorite. Has the hat come off for the bullet?
Yep, the head has come off now. His brain has more, can breathe a little easier. Also, perhaps he can see the board a little better. And this is the Hikaru we're used to seeing. So I think this is probably a good adjustment. And we're
Yeah,
off.
I see chat was complaining, but anyway, enough about that. The players are off Hikaru's white in the first game, and we are back to Sicilian territory, but something new.
Yeah, Hikaru, like we have seen these type of positions with colors reversed, but I like what Hikaru is doing. Queen e2, a little bit surprising to me. I think f3 is the usual move, but at least he's already gaining an early lead on the clock.
Absolutely. MVL taking his sweet time here in the opening. It's a dangerous strategy in bullet to spend so much time early on, but what do you make of his position?
Yeah, black's pretty solid. White's got this nice knight on d5, bishop e5, an interesting move by Hikaru. MVL can take, but that leaves the bishop on e7 hanging. But guys, the bullet is all about energy, so send it in. Keep sending in that energy to Hikaru, because he will soak it in and he will secure that dub. So keep sending in that energy, guys.
Yeah, those knights are looking pretty threatening right now. We love a knight on f5. That knight jumps back, but probably to make way for the other knight to jump back into the center. Things are heating up here. Both players using their f-pawns to open things up.
Yeah, so perhaps it was a bit of a mistake to go knight f5. MVL could just play knight e8 and follow up with. But now Hikaru takes and goes f5, and this looks great all of a sudden. f5, knight g4. I think Hikaru is going to take the first game.
Absolutely, this looks fantastic. f6 is such a weakness. How do you even defend queen? But now the pawn is going, well, maybe it's not going to drop just yet, but it's going to be such a weakness. But knight bishop c4 is a nice find, hitting the rook on f1 to allow the other rook to come to f8 to defend the pawn. But bishop h6, and black is so tied down. Where does that poor bishop go?
It goes to d3 to hit the pawn on e4, c4, but maybe at the right moment Hikaru can go knight e3 to d5. It goes bishop c1 instead. Hikaru's got a great position here, still has to finish it off, but yeah, great start so far for Hikaru.
Absolutely, it feels like b5 is very slow, but MVL trying to consolidate. But what happened here?
Yeah, MVL sacked the pawn, but queen c5 was not available as it would hang the pawn on f6. Knight takes c5, a great find by Hikaru, and I think this is going to be the first game for him.
Absolutely, and MVL trying to step out of the knight g6 check, but more material is going to drop, and I think this will be over very soon. Look at all the white pieces. The black king is in a world of pain. MVL resigns, and we have a tied match. Let's go, 27 minutes to go.
Let's go. Yeah, great game there by Hikaru. He was just checkmating MVL at the end, and now he's switching back to the modern defense. I like this one much better.
Let's
MVL grabbing more space here with d5, but we saw how Hikaru outplayed him in a similar position earlier.
Yeah, this one, so white has more space, but Hikaru is banking at some point, I guess, to do something on the king side. His piece arrangement is very funny with the knight on g8 and on h7. Computer doesn't like it, but we've seen Hikaru play these kind of positions so many times. But how are we going to get the knight from h7 out?
I don't know. It looks extremely passive for black. He goes bishop e5, trading off the bishops, but even after the trade of bishops, white still has a pretty strong attack. He's got a lot of space, and Hikaru is playing on the last three ranks. It's looking, I don't like it at all, to be honest.
He plays f6, takes on f4. Still not looking great. I mean, look at that concentration of pieces on the king side. Also not easy though. White, surely MPL understands he's better, but what should his plan be?
It's difficult to break through, and I guess slowly but surely Hikaru will try to crawl a lot. Oh, there goes a pawn. He didn't take it though. Not for king h7. Hikaru is super resilient in these type of positions. So a5 is a nice find though by MVL, creating some weaknesses on the queen side.
Yeah, creating a second weakness there, as you're saying. But Hikaru grabbing a pawn in the center. Why did What's wrong
Okay,
here?
96 takes. Wait, all of a sudden, I think Hikaru's just better. He's just one a pawn here. MVL had the right idea, but played it in the wrong order. Now Hikaru's up a pawn, and 92 would have been crushing, but F5, all of his pieces now come to life.
What a turnaround. As you said, Hikaru is just so good in these spots. Sometimes it almost feels like he's better when he's worried.
Right.
He's just so good in these spots. And look at these pawns run. How are you going to stop them if you're right? I think Hikaru is about to take the lead in the match again.
Yeah, 97, nice move. He wants to go knight f5. The nice thing also about these pawns is that it restricts the white knight from jumping up. He takes a pawn on b3, knight c6. Maybe you check now on queen e5. This looks like it's going to be another win for Hikaru.
Yeah, consolidating everything very nicely. The d pawn only 2 squares away from queening. MVL is fighting, but it just cannot be enough. The only question is for Hikaru, how do you do it? Okay, the queen's off.
Yeah, and the pawns are going to be set in motion really soon. Knight b4. This one looks like it's about to be over. Rook e3, and Hikaru wins yet another game and takes the lead in the match. Let's go, everyone.
Let's go, indeed. It's been a while since we had the lead, so this is looking very good. MVL will have to regroup. Hikaru now with the white pieces. And again, going for something quite offbeat.
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good for MVL. So for the knight on e2 really looks off to me. I think could have also gone d5. Hikaru moving his knight over to g3, king h7. MVL looks like he's ready to play a5. I feel like black has the edge here, but we know that Hikaru can turn any position around.
Absolutely. Now the bishop comes out to pin the knight on f3, so there is some pressure there.
I think he just hung a pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Queen d2.
Queen d2. Okay. He is making some odd moves here. He takes, but you know, he's only down a pawn. It's nothing too bad. Maybe he has. Oh, wait. Maybe he can take everything and then take on h6 and take on g6.
Oh,
He's pausing. He's got to find it. Oh, no. Take, and queen h6. Take it. Take it.
It's just insane how he turns these things around. Suddenly Hikaru is just winning again. And if you're MVL, they're showing a sign of, I don't know what it is. Just, I think being
Queen
annoyed
f6.
with himself.
Oh, look at this. Takes, check, and here. That's going to hurt. And Hikaru's paused. He's going to find it. Oh, no, he doesn't. Okay.
The position is still good, but yeah.
But c4 is a great move. He's breaking up black's pawn structure, and he can take here at the right moment. Knight g4. Knight g4 is crushing. That's game over. Yep, and there we go. He's going to be up 2 points. Check and take. No, that's it. That's it. Keep sending in that energy, everyone. He's going to be up by 2 points.
Winning the first 3 games in the bullet portion, inflicting on MVL what MVL had done to him on the 5+1. As you say, what is up by 2 points? I think it's already very, very difficult for MVL. Hikaru looks annoyed at something. I'm not sure what, but certainly not the match situation, which is looking great for him.
Yeah, he's playing this modern a lot better with the trade on e5. He moves the rook to d8, and eventually he's going to go knight h5 to f4. I think black's doing pretty fine, and instead he goes knight e... Oh, rook d2! He could have won another game already.
That happened so fast. Can we go back very quickly, maybe, to show just for 1 second? Removing the defender.
Yep, so a big missed opportunity there by Hikaru, but he's still doing absolutely fine. That being said, MVL's got a lot of space here on the queen side.
Yeah, so the position now looking good for white, but as we've seen in the previous games, that should not worry us. Hikaru launching a counterattack on the king side, and we are looking for some trades.
It feels like it's going to take a long time to actually get this going here. He goes h5. Maybe you just push with a5, c6. MVL grabs more space, but this does close down the queen side. So I don't know if it was the right decision. Maybe knight c8 here to recapture the knight, and that's what he does.
Yeah, is a5 still a move here?
G4. There he goes, creating counterplay. It's starting to look better now.
Yeah, G3. I would be worried, really, really worried about G3 and the queen at some point coming to the H file.
Yeah, the good thing though is that MVL can force the trade of queens. He could have also played knight f1. the endgame is still looking unpleasant for black because all of these pawns are fixed on dark squares, and the bishops are on the dark square. So maybe here MVL just trades. If Hikaru can hold this one, that would be a big hold, and that would be a blow to MVL's confidence.
How do you make progress? So what's the idea for white? At some point, I guess white is going to have to break with a5, or what do you actually do?
Oh, but be careful here. Hikaru comes
Yeah.
knight h6 to g4, or knight g6 to h4 is a great way to maneuver. Maybe bishop c5. Okay, wonder where he's going.
Some mysterious moves there, and here comes the break with a5.
But I think it was a mistake from MVL to trade those pawns off. Like the a-pawn could have potentially been a weakness if his knight somehow gets around. Now with less pawns on the board, this one should be a draw. I wonder if Hikaru can somehow make some magic happen here. I don't think so. King e2, by the way, is forced. Otherwise, it would hang this.
Yeah, and this is a great game. I think now would be a great moment for Hikaru to shave some time off the clock in that match situation. So understandably, Hikaru does not repeat moves.
95 bishop c3. That was a big blunder.
Oh my goodness.
Let's point that out real quick. MVL could have taken this pawn here and he actually wins the game, but instead he goes king e2, and they're maneuvering back and forth. This one is probably going to be a draw, and Hikaru probably will wait.
I think
like you said
Hikaru
too.
saw it because he's shaking his head. But now, I mean, not only did he save the
Bishop
game.
d6. Bishop d6
Oh my goodness.
takes knight. No, wait. Bishop d6 takes, what is the win exactly? Maybe takes a knight d5?
Find it.
Yeah, take. Yeah, he's found it. Wow, what a move.
Wow.
Bishop d8, knight d5. Uh-oh. It's not over yet.
I mean, bishop d6, what a move by MVL. I don't know, is the position lost yet?
No, Hikaru found the only move to hang on.
Wow.
This can still go his way. The b-pawn is weak. The knight swings over to d4. I think Hikaru can still easily win this game. King c7. Or there. King up. Okay, yeah, this one's it's just going to be a draw. Although, still a little bit better for black. King up, maybe.
I mean, also, if you're Hikaru, you're so happy here. You shaved so much time off that bullet clock, which I think must be in his favor here. And this is going to be 100+ move game, I think.
Yeah, no, he's going to get a lot of time off the clock here. I think the game is still going to be a draw, but I think white is still the one who has to be a little bit more careful. Black's king now moves up the board, and at the right moment, maybe you jump in with the knight. That being said, it looks difficult to make any progress here. King up. Knight here, yeah. Knight c4. Wait. 93? 93! I think it's going to... Wait, move the king. And it took swung. Oh, just move the king around? Maybe just walk the king back?
Closer, yeah?
King d4. King d4, defend the pawn. How do you win this? So knight h4. Do we just walk back? No, that was not the way. But still tricky for MVL. King d4. Yeah, king e5. It's still game on. Knight g7 only move. He finds it. Or moving his knight around.
I mean, still a tricky defense for
now it's just a draw. Take.
Oh, and he's gonna take on g3.
But Hikaru gets more time off the clock.
Unbelievable. This is probably one of the longest bullet matches ever in the SCC. It's still not over. But now white has a perpetual here.
Yeah.
But how long did this game take? This game took like 5 minutes. Maybe not quite 5, but almost.
It's a good question. And finally, it ends in a draw after 119 moves. What a game, Fiona. First, MVL missed some wins, and Hikaru missed a win, but eventually it ends in a draw. I think overall, Hikaru can be very happy. He keeps a 2-point lead and gets... Yeah, you called it 5 minutes or so off the clock.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like, I don't know if it was actually 5, but it was a lot. That was such a stunning move by MVL, I have to say, to find its bishop d6. But equally stunning how Hikaru defended that. Okay, so let's see. Knight d5.
Right.
What's going on here?
I like this opening a lot better for Hikaru. And actually, I'm a little bit surprised that MVL switched it up. I think he was doing very well in the Sicilians. And now Hikaru's got a very nice position against Hikaru. Maybe just bishop g5. There's pins all over the place. And white certainly has the initiative. Maybe d5 or g4. There's a lot. G4, by the way. Bishop g6. Take the d5 Hikaru breaking open the center.
This also looks fantastic. All the black pieces are tied down. The queen on d8 looks so unhappy facing the rook on d1. The question is, how do you do it? Feels like there must be something. The bar is telling us there's something.
What about takes? You take, if you take the queen, there's knight g6. If you take the knight, you hang the queen, and there we go. Bishop takes d5, double exclam. Let's go.
A move. And Hikaru is going to win this one as well. If he does, he takes a 3-point lead. There's the head bob. He knows this one is in the bag. Maybe MVL should just resign.
Perhaps he should. Yeah, he's going to be down 3 points with 40 minutes on the clock. Maybe he can still save this one, h4. I mean, Hikaru is playing great chess right now.
Really, really impressive stuff by Hikaru. It's such a tough spot for MVL because you kind of want to play on, but you know you're lost. You have to keep an eye on the clock. 14 minutes to go. The problem is, if this game goes on too long and you lose, you're going to have very little time to try and make up for what is already such a tough deficit to make up.
Exactly. Hikaru rook d5. Maybe, okay, the question still is, how is he going to break through? But, and like you said, it would be tough for MVL if he loses this game after another 2 or 3 minutes. So perhaps he should consider resigning, but it's always difficult to do. I think he should play on for a little bit. Black is getting some more stability. And perhaps when it is, wait, maybe he just has a fortress here.
Yeah, this looks very tough to break through.
Wait, check and queen d5. Hikaru finds it. Yeah, you can't. Wait, the b5 pawn is going to drop. You cannot take as a queen e4. I think Hikaru is actually going to win this one. Take. Bishop b3. But now f5. Now you break open the king side. Or check first. And f5. I don't think you can hold this. Especially with the time.
Early on with the rook on e6, it looked trickier. But now, okay, MVL is attacking the pawn. But what do you do? How do you... Still
wait,
not
actually,
easy to break through.
This could be a fortress. The rook over here holds the king side, and the bishop holds this pawn and this pawn. And g5, now the rook can always defend this g7 square. So actually, I think it is a draw, but Hikaru, again, can milk the clock as much as he wants here.
Yeah, MVL also down to just a few seconds.
Queen. Oh, he finds such a nice trick there. He gets a past h-pawn. Now, just don't blunder this, h5. This one, I think it's a draw, but it's unpleasant. g5, maybe? I think it's a fortress, but I'm not sure.
Very tough to assess, but Hikaru is happy either way. I think even if he doesn't win, he's once again shaving off so much time. This game is gonna be so long. If you MVL and you lose this one, I think it's over. Morally, there is no recovering from that.
Yep. So let's see. Hikaru moves the king up. I don't see what you do, though. Queen h3, rook h6. Is there a trick? If there is one, he will find it. Just make sure. Okay, gets the h-pawn up, but I don't think it does anything. Yeah, now MVL just takes. Okay, now he's lost the h-pawn, so he's like, okay, let's make another 50 moves.
Hikaru very happy with another long game, even if he doesn't win it. I mean, after this, there will only be 10 minutes left. Another,
yeah,
I mean, it's so rare to see a 100-move game in Bullet, but to see 2 of them within what? Within 3 moves is incredible. Within 3 games.
Exactly, yeah. Now, the match is far from over yet. Hikaru is up 2 games, but 2 games is still surmountable for MVL. Like I said, with 10 minutes on the clock, you can win a Bullet game in a couple of minutes, and then you still have plenty of time to start another one. I think it's good, though, for Hikaru to get that time off the clock, but it's still far from over.
The players have built up so much time. It's actually incredible. When was the problem for Hikaru is he would love to
Wait, let
push
me
his
do the
pawn.
math.
Yeah.
When was the last time? Yeah, so I think he just took his time to look that up. Let me actually go back. So the pawn was taken on move. Okay, on move 87. So in move 137, the game will end in a draw. And right now we are at move 131. So 6 more moves.
The problem is if you're Hikaru, you can't do anything, I think, to drag the game out further. There is no more taking, there is no more pawn pushes. So one more move and this will be over.
And now it's move 136. So he's gonna take his time, let his clock tick down all the way, and then probably you'll play like Queen G3.
Yeah. Perfect match strategy by Hikaru. 137 game move game. Unbelievable stuff. Let's not write MVL off just yet. 10 minutes to go, but he has a 2-point deficit and he hasn't won a game yet in the bullet portion, or has he?
Now, Hikaru's been crushing it in the bullet. I like what he's doing so far. He's playing a modern. He's played h5 to lock up the king side, and both sides actually going for king side castles. A little bit surprised what MVL's done here. Here, Hikaru trades plays a5, fixing the weakness, and plays knight b6 to attack it. I really like how he's handling this modern so far.
Absolutely. I think also if you're MVL, even if he didn't lose, he did actually, I'm very impressed with how he defended that last game. The problem is, yes, you saved half a point, but you lost so much time off the clock. And now, what is knight c3? Why
He
was
sacks
that
the
so
exchange,
bad?
but I don't think it's correct. MVL has to go for broke here, and so he does it f4, f5. This game is not over yet. Let's remind everybody, if MVL wins this game, there's still a chance, but I think you've said it before. If Hikaru wins this game, the match is over.
For sure. And okay, how can MVL, how is he going? Is he going to go e6, g6?
Bishop takes d4, and you win the rook, but Hikaru just jumps back. This one, it looks over. I mean, if you take, you recapture the rook, everything is hanging, black's up, a clean exchange. If Hikaru wins this game, Fiona, I think it's just over. Rook takes.
Yeah, and I mean, the bishop is under attack. The problem is white has no more attack. Black is the one with the material and the attack. MVL resigns. It's now a 3-point lead for Hikaru, 8 minutes to go. I think it's very close to being game over. If MVL doesn't win this one, it is over.
Yeah, so MVL pushing his h-pawn up the board. Doesn't go all the way to h3, so now Hikaru stops him. And yeah, he opens up his bishop. Okay, we have a pretty even opening so far, but it's looking great right now for Hikaru. He's up 3 points, 7.5 minutes on the clock. MVL still has a chance, but he's gonna have to win games in like, 3 minutes or so, and then start the game with a little bit of time left. But Hikaru is crushing it again.
Yeah, I think if you're MVL at this point, you're just like, what can I even do? I mean, MVL had so many great positions. I think MVL just lost too many winning positions in this match, and that's what Hikaru does, it just bamboozles you. He's so tricky in the spots. I don't think MVL played badly. This bullet portion is one-way traffic so far, and I think this match is going to end up, I think Hikaru is going to win by a big score in the end. Which is probably not going to reflect, how close the match was up until the bullet.
Oh, Yang's made it. What Hikaru could have done, by the way, which would have been kind of dirty, is wait till the last second to play Queen E8. But Fiona now with a 4-point lead.
He got so carried away seeing the mate that he probably just didn't think about it. That is now a 4-point lead, and with 6 minutes left on the clock, I think maybe it's not officially over, but I think it's unofficially over.
Yeah, it's practically over for sure. I mean, MVL is going to have to win games in 2 minutes each and start the last game with a couple seconds left. Now, Hikaru's been it's been impressive. It's been a very tough match. MVL certainly he was at least on par, perhaps the better player in the 5+1 and 3+1 portions, but Hikaru's been crushing it in the bullet.
Yeah, I want to say no surprise there. He's just such a beast. And I think for MVL at some point, I think that last loss in the 3+1 was very tough, probably for him. And then those long games. And I mean, Hikaru is just in the bullet portion been a beast. And he is getting very close now to officially setting up a final against Magnus Carlsen, which might sound familiar.
That's going to be absolute fire. Yeah, that'll be on Friday. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, right now it's looking great. 5 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. He's doing absolutely fine in this game as well. But yeah, right now these games are all for the statistics. It's not really gonna impact the match situation. Hikaru is gonna win. He's got a commanding lead. But it's impressive. It's impressive how much stronger he became in the bullet.
Once the cap came off.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he just had to take that hat off. Like, it gives his brain more room to breathe.
Absolutely. It has worked wonders. He's once again in a dominating position. He's gonna pick up a pawn here while MVL gives up the exchange. But Hikaru with a technically winning position here.
Yeah, Hikaru should win this one as well. Like you said, he's up the exchange, so now he just has to open up files for his rooks. So maybe f5 at the right moment. Goes rook c5, preparing it a little bit. And yeah, so the question will be, though, what he is going to have to do better in the final against Magnus. Magnus, he's also an absolute beast in bullet. Like, his instincts are just so good. So I think Hikaru will have to play better in that one. I think against Magnus, he cannot expect to make up a 3 to 4 point deficit just in the bullet portion alone.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see Hikaru's openings for that one. I'd be shocked if we saw any, 1a6, 1 knight h3. But who knows? What I know is it's going to be an absolute, what's the word I was looking for? Barn burner? Is that a word, or did I just make that up? Anyway, it's going to be spectacular. I'm not sure who's doing. I will unfortunately be not at home, but I can't wait to just watch the match as a spectator. I think it's gonna be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, no, that one's gonna be it's gonna be fire, as the kids say these days.
Exactly.
Hikaru, for whatever reason, gave back the exchange. Okay, I don't know why. Rook c4. MVL's queenside should collapse here, though.
Yeah, rook takes a4, and bishop c4 looks like it's going to be enough here.
Yeah.
And MVL resigns. 3 minutes left on the clock. We're going to see 1 or 2 more games, and there we see, I think, Hikaru breathing a sigh of relief, because it was not an easy match by any means. There were many tense moments. The scoreline in the end, as I said, is going to be very punishing for MVL. But yeah, that was all down to the bullet. I mean, it was incredibly close, pretty much throughout, really.
Yeah, it's been brutal. It's been brutal. I mean, if you look at the scorecard, Hikaru took the 5+1 portion with a 1 point margin. Then the 3+1 portion was for MVL by 2 points. And the 1+1, Hikaru has a 7-1 lead. And that's really the storyline here, Fiona. Hikaru, he just ran away with it. So yeah, he's crushing it right now in the bullet.
Yeah, I actually think MVL is a better bullet player than what he has shown. I think maybe the psychology was tough. Once Hikaru won the first, 2 games, MVL had lost a painful game in the last portion of the 3+1, and I think it was partly Hikaru played the bullet brilliantly, and partly MVL just collapsed in that portion of the match.
Yeah, Hikaru just makes his opponents look bad in bullets, right? Like, he's crushing him. He makes MVL look like a player that's a lot weaker than he actually is. Whereas MVL, he didn't play his worst chess, but Hikaru is just so dominant. And by the rook g8 is a nasty threat here. Yeah,
it looks like Hikaru is going to win another one. The only question that remains here, is he going to win it? Because before the timer runs out, there's 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. I think he actually will, and we will get a final game, but let's see what happens here. The rooks come off.
Threatening checkmate now, which looks tough to defend against. Maybe king g7, but a rook f8 you take. So it's a tough. Oh, and queen c1. Black could have picked up rook, but there was knight f7 at the end. Maybe now knight d6, same idea, but you also hit the rook. Oh, rook f8 takes a knight f7.
Oh my goodness.
And rook e6, queen f8.
We are going to get one more
Oh,
game.
oh, is he gonna do it? Queen F8, Queen F8, Queen F8. He's gonna wait. He's gonna wait. That's a nice finish.
If Hikaru lets the clock run out, this will be the last game. And MVL, we see him there. That was a move that we see in tennis sometimes, applauding the nice finish by Hikaru. Nice sportsmanship there by MVL, who MVL, I have to say, he's a fantastic player. The bullet here has not shown that. He's also a really nice person. So you got to feel a little bit for MVL here, who is being absolutely trounced in the bullet. But what a display by Hikaru, and what a stunning finish we just saw.
Yeah, no, those are pretty finish right there. He's now up by 6 points. MVL trying to fight back in this final game. And yeah, I'm a little... he could technically... Well, the thing is, the match could have ended right there. Like if MVL had taken the rook and then Hikaru takes all the time before making that last move, perhaps MVL wanted to get one more game. So yeah, right now Hikaru's up a pawn, but MVL has some compensation. But yeah, lots of respect for the Frenchman.
Absolutely. Maybe MVL, you know, he hasn't won in a game in the bullet. Maybe he's trying to win one here, but Hikaru once again with the better position. The position is messy though. White now threatening to take on c6. How do you defend against that rook d6 played? And maybe MVL win a last consolation game. Things are looking good here for him. And Hikaru shaking his head, but with a smile. I think he will not be too upset if he loses one game. But it's not over yet. It is not over yet. And MVL still has to do the trickiest part, and that is the conversion.
Yeah, no, it's never over against Hikaru, but it actually is. And so we finished the match with a 16.5 to 11.5 score for Hikaru. Yeah, it was close throughout Fiona in the 5+1 and the 3+1 portion, but Hikaru was just crushing it in the bullet.
Absolutely. We see Hikaru there, his phone. Oh, that was probably the second camera in the background. What a phenomenal performance by Hikaru, winning it 16.5, 11.5 in the end. And yeah, that bullet was just, it felt like MVL never had a chance in that last section today.
Right. Hikaru said in the chat he will join soon. So I guess he will do a Chess.com interview. Let's see if we can pull that one up. Although I think Chess.com is going to take a break as well. So we're going to take a break, everyone. But do not go anywhere. When we come back, we will see Hikaru being interviewed on the official broadcast on Chess.com. And after that, we will try to get him for an interview ourselves. We will see you in a few.
Welcome back to the Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. The second semifinal is in the books, and we are all set up for a rematch of last year's final between Magnus Carlsen and Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura, who joins us in the studio. Hikaru, thank you for joining. Congratulations on the win. First question, coming into the match, were you targeting the bullet as the segment of the match where you thought that you could make the biggest gains?
Well, I mean, I think I've been saying this probably for the last 3 years, that I feel like in any match that I play in the Speed Chess Championship, if I'm not down by more than 1 or 2 games going into the bullet, I think I have great chances to win no matter what. So it's not as though I was targeting bullet, but I did have the mindset, especially after I lost the first couple of games to start the match, where I simply wanted to keep it as close as possible until we got to that portion.
Yeah, speaking of essentially turning points in the match and having that, that small deficit before the bullet, it felt like the end of the 3+1 segment, that really clutch win you had with f3 check and eventual queen g3 infiltration in the Sicilian. Did you feel like that was a turning point in the way that we felt it as commentators?
I mean, I think that obviously in retrospect, if I lose that final game, which I think I probably should have at a couple of different moments, the whole bowl situation could have been different. I think I still would have had great chance to win even if I'd lost that final game. But certainly being down one going into the bullet was about as good as I could have asked for, considering what I did at the start of the 3+1. I mean, I think that in the 3+1, I started out with a nice one, I think with black, if I remember, and then I messed up this rook and knight's end game horribly to lose that rook and knight in 3 versus rook knight 3, which I never should have lost. And it kind of went downhill from there. And, you know, a lot of credit has to go to Maxime for how well he played and keeping it together. But I think certainly that final game of the 3+1, I did something really wrong in the opening. I think I played some early knight a5, and then I had to go king takes e7. And I mean, that was sort of just I don't want to say a tilt game. It was just like get this portion over pretty much. And I was a little bit lucky in that game. But, you know, again, at the end of the day, I feel like going to the bullet, if I'm not down by more than 1 or 2, I always will have great chances.
Do you think it's fair to say that Maxime played too quickly in the bullet? Would you say that overcompensating for the reduced time control is a big reason why SCC participants struggle in the bullet? Is there kind of over-adjusting that tends to happen?
Well, I mean, I think Magnus said this. I don't know if he said it recently or it was in past SCCs, but I think Magnus said there's a huge difference between 1+1 and 1+0. And I think in 1+1, there's this real urge to just like move very, very quickly. I mean, I think there's some limit you have to keep yourself above, at least in the first like 10 to 15 moves. But yeah, Maxime was basically playing like straight up 1-0, and there were several games in the bullet where it just fell apart really, really quickly for him. I was also able to get a lot of sort of end games, and there were certain games, like there's this game where I got this whole king side, which was closed, which went on forever, and it actually kind of reminded me a lot of a couple of the games I played against Magnus in the Bullet Chess Championship, where you're just maneuvering, and eating up a lot of clock. And so I think Maxime probably overcompensated, but once he started losing like 2-3 games, then it's very difficult because you're behind in the match. You feel like you have to win games quickly. You can't use all your time because you're losing time on the clock as well. The timer, I mean, for the match. So it's hard to judge, but I think certainly 1+1, it's not as fast as it seems. There were a couple moments where I actually was able to stop and think for 5 to 10 seconds, but overall it's just very difficult switching back and forth between all the different time controls.
So MVL obviously proved to be a very, very worthy opponent, particularly early on, but we now are going to have the final that the fans have essentially been clamoring for some time. Just looking forward, how do you anticipate the contours or the battle lines being drawn there? What do you think are the keys for you to be successful in that match?
Well, I mean, the first thing is that I get to play Magnus a lot. I mean, I think I'm playing him on Friday in the final, and I'm playing him on Monday in the Chess Champions Tour as well. So I'll get to play Magnus quite a bit in the next 3 days. You know, I think looking at the match, it goes without saying that I'll have to play a lot better than I played today. I think today I started off very, very poorly in the first couple of games. Maxime was really, really sharp. So I'll have to play a lot better. If I do, I think I have chances. Obviously, I won last year. But you know, Magnus obviously has been on a big run. So we'll kind of see how it goes. I feel like if I play to the best of my ability, I'll have great chances, especially if I can keep it close going to bullet. But again, you know, and it's anyone's guess what will happen.
Hikaru, we know you're streaming, so we won't keep you much longer. We have 2 quick chat questions before we let you recover and rest from the match. First one from the real Urethra Franklin. Do you agree with Magnus's claim that we're just better at chess than the others, quote unquote?
Well, I mean, I think you have to put that into context. I think certainly in bullet, it's proven to be true. You know, I think the one thing that I didn't say about the 1+1 is that probably more so than anything else, there's a certain intuition, like the moments when somehow I was able to sense when I needed to use time, the 1+1 was really, really critical today. And I think 2 or 3 of those games. And Magnus also has that ability where somehow he's able to like rein it in and he's able to think at critical moments. So I think in the 1+1, it's definitely, or 1+1 or 1+0, it's definitely true. I think as far as blitz goes, I mean, maybe we're better on average, but I don't think the gap is that big. So I think that's slightly a little bit of an overstatement.
Yeah, here's another question from the chat for you, Hikaru. Krishna21234 is asking, did the cap make a difference in performance?
No, I don't think the cap made a difference at all. I think actually the only thing that made a little bit of a difference is like when I started out very well in 3+1. I know that there's a break every 30 minutes, but at some point I really need to use the bathroom very badly. And so I think like I played the C4, I think in the final game of that 3+1 before the break, and maybe even the game before that, where it's just like I was trying to move really, really quickly to get the games over with so I could go to the bathroom, or we could get to the break at least. So that's maybe the one thing that made a difference. The cap definitely didn't, but those of you guys who are watching the streams in the early days, like late 2018 into early 2019, you probably will remember that cap because I have worn it before. So it's a hat that I thought would maybe be a little bit lucky for me. Probably didn't prove to be lucky, but I don't think it made that much of a difference. Oh, and actually, no, let me add one other point. The other thing I was going to say is, of course, the reason I wore the cap, of course, is because Magnus wore that ridiculous looking, was it a Puma cap or something the other day? So I felt like I had to do the same thing.
Fair enough.
Well, you mentioned 2018. I still remember Naka's knockouts, and the orange wall used to be a lot more barren. But how times have changed. Hikaru, we'll let you keep streaming. That was an amazing match.
I just wanted to add, like, can I just add two more things, Dania? I just want to add two more things. Can I add two more things?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I just want to add, I think when I look at the when I look at these matches, all the matches against Magnus, of course, have been great, but I would say this match is right up there with the match against Dingler, and of course the epic battle I had. But there was also a match against Sergei Karyakin where I think I was down one game in the bullet, maybe midway through the bullet portion. It was also a really, really tight match. I don't even remember what year that was. But this match today was really a lot of fun. And then also the other thing I was going to say is, there's a very famous Steve Jobs quote, which is you can basically connect the dots looking backward, but you can't connect them looking forwards. And I was thinking it's kind of ironic that the 2017 Speed Chess Championship Finals held, I believe, in January of 2018, that actually when I played Magnus in that match, I did play that basically in front of a live crowd of, I think, maybe like 100 people in South Africa. And it's kind of ironic in a way that was sort of a prelude to, what everything would go on to become. So I'm just thinking about all the matches against Magnus, thinking about how I actually played on a computer in front of people. It's been an amazing ride. So it's just been a lot of fun playing the SCC, and looking forward to the next match against Magnus on Friday.
Well, it's been amazing to watch you play, and it'll be an epic rematch from last year. Hikaru, have a good rest of your stream, and thanks again for joining us for the interview.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Take care.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Speed Chess Championship. Hikaru, congratulations on winning your match in the semifinals. What are your overall thoughts about this match?
Yeah, I mean, this was a very strange match in some ways. I mean, I think obviously the start, Maxime was red hot, very, very sharp. I definitely was not focused whatsoever. I think that really the first critical moment was when I was down 3-0 and I played this Sicilian line on the Rossalimo, and the game ended in a draw. I got what I thought was a big attack on the king side. I sacked a couple of rooks and everything else. But I would say that was the first moment where I thought, like, I could have won that game. I also very easily could have lost that game. I think if I had gone down 4-0, it would have been quite difficult to come back. So I would have been in a very bad mood. But I think saving that draw and then winning the next game was really steadied the ship at the very beginning of the 5+1. And then I was able to actually rally off a couple more wins and, in fact, have a 5-4 lead. The second critical moment, I think, was when I took the 2-game lead at the start of the 3+1. And then I lost the game after that in this horrible rook and knight endgame, which I should have drawn in my sleep, basically. And that started a streak where it was going the other way. And then, of course, as I mentioned on the chess.com interview, at some point there quite early on, I needed to go use the bathroom. But I felt like if I actually got up and went to the bathroom at some point, someone like Nepa would have been out there on the Twitter yelling at me, even though he's done that a million times himself during the Chess Champions Tour. So I mean, maybe I should have just practically got up and done it, but considering the atmosphere of everything that's going on these days, I didn't really feel like doing it. I think that cost me probably at least like 1.5 to 2 points in the 3+1, but then I was able to keep it relatively close throughout the rest of the way. But the last game of the 3+1 was definitely very important because I could have very easily lost that game and been down 3. And if I lose that, I'm down 3. I think I still have a pretty decent chance to win, but there's no guarantee because then Maxim's feeling really, really good. But that 2-point swing where it goes from +3 to +1, and then once I won the first bullet game, it was very clear that I was going to win the match. So very choppy at times, but I think it's a lot more fun when it's like this, even if it's stressful, because most of the matches, I think I would say for both myself and Magnus, have not been particularly competitive throughout the event. So even if it was stressful, it was still a lot of fun to play.
You talked about that crucial last game of the 3+1 portion. After that came the break. Can you tell us a bit about what you get up to during the break? Do you ever look at some lines which you played, or is it just taking a rest and unwinding?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are two minds. You can be of the one mind where you do that. Definitely in between the rapid games, I've done that at the Chess Champions Tour many times. For the SCC, I don't do that. I mean, it's very hard to judge because obviously Maxime and I were playing the exact same lines over and over again. That's one thing that I don't like about playing like Maxime or playing someone like Wesley, is that generally you end up in this themed match where you get certain openings over and over again. But no, I chose not to. I mean, some people would do that. It depends on how you feel about it. I just feel like it's not really in the spirit of the event to be like prepping in between, like when you're playing blitz games. Like in normal blitz games, you don't have time to get up and go prep. I mean, obviously. So there are two ways of looking at it. I was not doing it. I was just getting up, getting more carrots and celery and using the restroom generally. So I was just trying to relax. And the main thing that I was mostly doing was trying to just stay as calm as possible, because I knew that if I got to the bullet portion, I would have my chances. And so that was the most important thing, because there were a couple moments that I was getting very frustrated, especially in the 3+1.
Right. And Hikaru, I just wanted to ask you, what did you do in terms of preparation for this match? Did you check any openings whatsoever, or did you just relax, maybe did a little bit of puzzle rush? And what are you going to do to prepare for your match against Magnus?
Well, I mean, obviously I didn't prepare because I played the Van Geet opening in the first game with Knight C3. So no, I didn't prepare. I mean, for the SCC, I haven't been preparing. I think it's very clear based on the openings that I've played throughout the match. It's actually, it's sort of as a sign of how insane it was today. Maxime very clearly had prepared for A6. So there was one game when I think the match was tied. I played E4 and I played A6 and 3+1, and he blitzed out a bunch of theory. So Maxime was definitely try-harding, unlike me. But I don't know. I don't feel like there's any point prepping, because I generally am just going to play the match, play random openings and see what happens. So I don't prep, but against Magnus, I mean, maybe I'll look at a couple basic openings, but I really think the only time when prep matters a lot is probably in the 5+1 portion. I think in the 3+1 and bullet, prep is pretty much negligible. So maybe I'll look at something for the 5+1. But I think the main thing is I just have to be a lot better than I was today, because I made way too many blunders throughout the match. I mean 1+1 actually, I think I was pretty close to flawless, ironically enough. But in the 5+1 and 3+1, I made so many mistakes. It wasn't even funny.
Can you maybe expand on that a little bit, if it's not giving away too much? What concretely do you feel you can improve on for Magnus's match, and how do you work on these things?
I mean, I think the main thing is just not blunder. I mean, I mean, there's no obvious way of putting it, because like when I say that, I made blunders and everything, that's also sort of detracting from how well Maxime did play, and he did play quite well for most of the match. So I think the main thing with playing against Magnus, if I look back to last year specifically, I dominated 5+1. I've generally felt that 5+1 is my favorite time control, because it's a control where I spend the most time. It's the most comparable to normal chess, I would say, like classical chess. There are moments where like you'll see me spend 30 seconds to a minute on an individual move that doesn't happen regular in like the other like 3+1 or 1+1. So I dominated the 5+1 last year. I think it was like 6-2 or something. That was actually my biggest score, and then kind of took my foot off the gas. 3+1, I think I lost quite poorly. 1+1, I think I also lost, but it was like 1 or 2 games. So I think generally the main thing is, as I said on the chess.com interview, keeping the match close, just playing solid, not making too many mistakes. Because against Magnus, I will get very severely punished if I make as many mistakes as I did today.
Right. Yes. So, like going off that again. So, what do you think you'll have to do better going into the match? Like, do you feel like maybe you're not as well rested, or is it just that the chess form is very difficult to put your finger on what you can do better?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of, there are days when you don't play great. I think it's really that simple. But I think the main thing is just that against Magnus, I'll have to be really sharp. I think that today I sort of was expecting it to be a very slow start. I mean, I was sort of just getting into the game and everything. I mean, actually, to be honest, I was just watching Netflix for like 2 hours before the match. Probably I won't do that when I play Magnus. But I think the main thing is I just sort of expect to be a very slow start, very like slow, calm, and it wasn't whatsoever. And Maxime was just storming right out of the gates. And I think that's the main thing is I need to be sharp from the get-go. I can't like give away 3 games at the start, because if I do, it's not even going to be close.
A double question for me. Chat would like to know what you were watching on Netflix. And after that, I would also like to ask you about that moment. You started with a 3-point deficit. Have you ever gone into a match and lost the first 3 games, and what was going through your mind at that moment?
Yeah, so the first thing was, of course, I was watching Legends of Tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow, that's what it was. Legends of Tomorrow is what I was watching. That's the first thing. And the second thing was 3-0. I don't think I've ever started off 0-3. I feel like against Ding it might have been 2-0. I mean, I know very quickly it was not good against Ding. So maybe that match was a little bit unfavorable. But I think once it got to 3-0, the main thing that I had to tell myself, especially in the 4th game and then the 5th game, is like, it's a long match. I mean, you've got 3 hours of chess ahead of you. There's 3 hours of chess, so you can obviously turn it around. If I'm talking to myself, like I can obviously turn it around if I play well. But the main thing was I started thinking is just remembering that if I can just get to the bullet and keep it within range, I will have chances. And then I was able to actually win the 5+1. So mainly it's just like remembering that, just like try to keep it close. Don't lose any more games. Just pick off a game here or there and just get to the bullet portion. That was pretty much what was going through my mind.
Right. Yeah, no, you did a great job riding the ship there. And then you went down some games in the 3+1 portion. Were you ever worried at that stage or not really?
Well, I mean, it was kind of chaotic because if I have the game order correctly, I mean, the game that I got it back to even with a nice win. I don't remember what the win was, but then next game I played A6 and got just steamrolled off the board, and then I lost in this C3 Sicilian where Maxime, true to form, was not 100% accurate. He went for something that was like kind of on the edge, where he didn't take the bishop on F1. He tried to create this massive counterplay with the double rooks, and I mean, I think after that I was up like a minute on the clock. He had like 5 seconds. Should have been a pretty easy draw. I lost that game out of nowhere, which I never should have lost. And so I think that I forgot exactly what the question you're saying, whether I was worried. Like at that point, I was sort of a little bit on tilt in the final 3-1 game, but I was able to sort of get just a stable position. And then eventually when we got into the scramble, I won. So that game maybe was, I was a little bit worried going into that game. Perhaps the final game was with the black pieces. And also like in that game, I was trying very hard to get that game over before the clock ran out, because I think we started that game with about 6 minutes on the clock. And so I was trying very hard to get that game over so I would get one more game in as well, which probably was not smart to be worrying about the clocks. It turned out to be the final game. But I think once I won that, going to the break being down 1, I felt very, very good about the situation.
Absolutely. Question from the chat. Was it harder to get in the groove without music? And I think one of the things, I don't know if you have talked about this before, but today you weren't wearing headphones. I don't know if this has been addressed, if there was a change in the regulations or what happened.
So first things first, I actually think I do play better with music. I think the reason for that is because it's actually a lot easier to stay out of your head, basically. And what I mean by that is that when you have music or when your focus is elsewhere, generally your thoughts, like I'm focusing on the game, but there are no other thoughts because you're just vibing to the music and going with the flow. And I think when you don't have that, it's much easier to start like talking to yourself, second guessing yourself, and it's much more than just playing the game. You have all these external thoughts that don't get blocked out by the music. So I think certainly I do play better with music. Although having said that, for all the idiots like a certain world-class GM, I have won the last two SCCs without headphones. So I am used to playing without headphones, but yeah, so I think I do play better generally with headphones. But that being said, there was some confusion between the rules, whether headphones were allowed or not allowed. Obviously, Ali Reza did the same thing with headphones. But basically, chess.com, as I understand, they've essentially said that no matches going forward will have headphones. So it's what it is.
Do you listen to music over speakers or just no music at all?
No, I mean, I'm literally have no sound at all. No sound at all. I'm just watching the board, just playing. So it's that simple. I mean, I don't know. Speakers, obviously, maybe that I don't really know if that's the good thing or bad thing. Again, I mean, I've never really looked into it because for streaming, it's simply not. It just makes no sense for me to ever have speakers as opposed to headphones. I mean, it's not to say I couldn't go out and buy speakers. Of course I could. But for me, considering that there's no practical value as far as streaming goes, I don't really see any point, and I've gotten used to kind of playing without sound. Also, like Chess Champions Tour, another event, for example, I've always played that. Obviously, you're not allowed to wear headphones for that event, so I've always played that without any sound. So it's pretty normal to me.
Right, and Hikaru, I just have one more question. You said you felt like you play much better in the 1+1 portion as opposed to the 5+1 and 3+1. Why do you think that was the case?
I think it's just because I've played so much Bullet over the years. I have so much experience in these situations. You know, one match that I think has fallen through the cracks just because I've played in the SCC so many years now is there's this match I played against Sergei Karyak, and I think I actually played it from London, right around the time of the London Chess Classic. And I was here in Florida. Sorry, I'm stupid. Wrong match. But I played a match against Karyak, and I was actually, I think, down one game in the Bullet, like midway through the Bullet. And outside of the matches against Magnus and the match against Ding, that was one match where I really was worried that I would lose just because I was down a game in the middle, not at the start of the Bullet portion. But I think mainly it's just the experience. Also, as I said on the chess.com interview, there's certain moments in Bullet in the 1+1 where somehow you have to, it's like intuition, whatever you want to call it, where you have to stop yourself from playing a move. You have to use 5 or 10 seconds to find the best move. And I felt like Maxime was trying too hard to play it like straight up Bullet, like 1-0. And there were a couple moments where I used like 5-10 seconds and I was able to find the line that very specifically, I think in the second or third to last game, I played this Bishop G5, Queen H4, D5, and this whole Bishop E7, Knight G6 idea. And that was a situation where I actually used a little bit of time before just blitzing out those moves. And I think it was very, very important that I did that, because if I make a mistake there and lose, I could be back to like a 2-game lead. So it's really just intuition, and also just the experience. I mean, I you know, as great as I like to think I am at Blitz Chess, I certainly think that you know, when I look back on everything, I'll be very, very proud of the Bullet accomplishments more than anything else. Because I do think that at my best, there's nobody. I mean, maybe now it's a little bit different because I'm getting older, but I would say at least like if you go back like 5-6 years, I don't think there's anyone who could compete with me at Bullet. So I think it's just the massive experience, the confidence I have, and just knowing when to think.
And Hikaru, I also only have one final question. It's the question that was asked the most in the chat. Were you eating carrots? And someone asked a follow-up question. Was the eating the carrots, were you sending a message to Magnus?
Well, no, I mean, it wasn't on purpose. It was mainly because I didn't want to eat anything super heavy during the game. And the match was at a very weird time, because since I wasn't streaming, like normally I'll eat something right before I stream, like around 9:30, 10-ish, or if I start a little bit later, like on Tuesdays, like 10:30, right up until 11. So it's sort of caught in no man's land where I didn't really want to eat a heavy lunch. I had eaten a little bit of breakfast earlier. So that's why I had celery and carrots, because it was just something simple and light that I had in the pantry. This time it wasn't actually about Magnus. My signal to Magnus was when I wore the cap. That was the signal for today. But it definitely was not. It wasn't about that. I was just trying to keep it light.
Actually, just a quick follow-up question regarding the cap. It came off, which you already talked about in the chess.com interview for the Bullet. The Bullet was the portion today, which went the best. Are you superstitious in any way? Do you feel like, oh, the cap was not so lucky today, or do you not have any thoughts like that?
I don't know. I mean, the first problem was when I went to my closet this morning, I couldn't find my pineapple shirt. I was going to wear the classic black pineapple shirt, and I couldn't find it. So I'm generally not that superstitious, but that was probably a very bad omen that I couldn't actually find the classic shirt that I was like, I showered, I was already played the match. I went to closet, I was looking for that shirt, and suddenly it wasn't where I thought it was going to be. So that was definitely already a step in the wrong direction for today. As if I want to look at like signs and all this other stuff. Generally, I'm not superstitious, I would say, but the cap came off. It wasn't so much because I wasn't doing well. It came off because when you wear a cap, your head gets itchy and you want to scratch it. That happens in Bullet. You're going to lose seconds here or there. And I just didn't want to end up in a situation where I have to start scratching my head. I lose a few seconds here or there, and like it costs me a game.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, I was just going to say that, yeah, we've asked you a lot of questions. Chess.com has asked you a lot of questions. So Hikaru will leave the last.
Well, I mean,
words
I
up to
guess
you.
I mean I'll give you guys some final thoughts. The thing that's really crazy about this event is all the matches have gotten jumbled up. Like all the matches happening right here in a span of a couple of days at the end of the event. Whereas like before, I feel like it might have been a week or 2 weeks. I feel like it was a very relaxed schedule up to this point. And so it's kind of insane that I'm going to play Magnus on Friday in the finals of the SCC, but then I'm also going to play Magnus on Monday in the Chess Champions Tour. And I think it's good to get a lot of practice, especially for November. So I'm just looking really forward to all the upcoming chess that I'm playing against Magnus, and it's an exciting time.
You talk about November. Can you tell us what is your schedule for Over the Board games?
Well, I mean, my schedule for Over the Board is pretty insane. Obviously, I'm playing in the Qatar Masters at the start of October. I'm playing in the Grand Swiss at the end of October. I have plans in November, obviously. I mean, hopefully that'll be announced fairly soon. And then maybe December, the World Rapid and Blitz, although that tournament, actually, I have no idea what's going on because I've heard many conflicting rumors about locations. So that's pretty much what I have. There's also the Champions Chess Tour, which will be in December as well, I believe, in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. So I have quite a bit of chess coming up. Certainly, it takes away from my real job, but, I still like playing because I seem to at least be competitive outside of the first few games today when I was basically a very, 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 very serious amateur player. But it's fun to compete. So that's what I have. A couple tournaments October, then November, maybe a couple events December. And then I won't play anything in January or February, probably, at least not until the end of February. And hopefully I qualify for the candidates. If I don't, I don't. But life's good.
Fantastic.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, Hikaru, what are your plans for the rest of the day and tomorrow leading up to the match?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be. I guess I have to go pick up Danny Wrench from the airport. Or actually, no, he'll probably catch an Uber from the airport. But he's coming into town, so I'm gonna go have dinner with Danny a little bit later on. So that's my plan for the rest of today, at least. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow necessarily. We'll see. I'm definitely not streaming. So Friday, of course, we'll be back with coverage of the final, and I'll just relax as much as I can.
Fantastic. Well, Hikaru, thanks for your time. Congratulations once again on today's match and best of luck for Friday.
Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks for doing the coverage, and I'll see all you guys very, very soon.
Thank you. Have a
Good
good
luck
one.
on Friday, Hikaru.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Bye. So that was Hikaru sharing a lot more thoughts there. Great to have him, of course, on the stream. I think that is going to be it from our side. But it was a lot of fun to watch today's match and to commentate it for you guys. Benjamin, it was a pleasure to be back working alongside each other. And yeah, I won't be here on Friday, but I'll be in the chat with you guys. Can't wait for that one. Thanks for all your comments. We really appreciate you. And I'll leave you with the final words, Ben.
Yeah, Fiona, it was a great day of chess. We had a lot of fun following all of the action. And we can only look forward to Friday when Hikaru will take on Magnus. The final we all want. It's going to take place, again, on Friday at 1 p.m. Central, 2 hours later than today. So make sure to tune in then, you guys. But again, thanks everyone for watching. And we look forward to seeing you on Friday.